Clark Mague is an average music student. He gets up, goes to class, practices, goes home, goes to bed. That is his average day. After being in his favorite professor Mark Clegg's American Mavericks class for most of the semester, Clark decided to go on this day trying to be as mavericky as possible. Clark started his day with an early morning breakfast at the local North Side Grill. The tradition, and this sign, state that you need to sign in at the counter. Clark was a maverick, however, and grabbed the first table that he saw. He got some angry looks from customers that he cut in line, but no one said anything. Maverick move number 1, mission accomplished. Feeling confident after his success at Northside, Clark decided to try something he had been thinking about for several days. He had heard that one of the organ practice room doors was broken and didn't lock. Clark went for it, leaning into the door, and sure enough, the latch was broken. He turned on the blower and proceeded to play the 80s rock hit Jump. His maverick moves gave him even more confidence just in time for class with Professor Clegg. His favorite class of the day, Clark participated in the day's brainstorming activity. He got bored after a while, though, and decided to continue in his ways of defying authority. Clark hopped on Facebook to check out what was going on in the world of social media. He was starting to like this whole being a maverick thing. After class, however, the mavericky would have to be put on hold, as Clark has a jury coming up that he needed to prepare for. He went and got his bassoon out and claimed a practice room. After unpacking, Clark realized that he was quite hungry and wanted to go grab a bagel from the lounge. It should take less than 15 minutes, so leaving the practice room was okay. In the lounge, Clark ran into his good friend Paul. They started talking about Maverick's class, and Paul told him that his project was taking place on the Diag later that afternoon. Clark made a mental note to go check it out. Then Clark saw his other best friend Mary, and they began discussing their love of coffee in the lounge. After consuming that much caffeine, Clark needed to use the bathroom. He went upstairs and watched the dean exiting his private bathroom, another maverick opportunity. Clark used his slim stature to sneak up behind Dean Kendall and catch the door without him noticing. Clark went in and used the dean's plush facilities, complete with padded toilet seat, couch, gourmet chef, and HD television. Meanwhile, in the practice wing... Wait, what time is it? That's right, 3 hours later and Clark's stuff is still in the practice room. What a maverick. Clark was now headed over the bus to head down to Central. On his way, he noticed his arch-enemies. Geese. With his confidence overflowing from being mavericky, Clark fought the goose. The battle ended in a draw. Realizing that fighting a goose maybe wasn't the best idea, Clark wanted to reflect on his mistakes. Clark went over to the Arb and walked along the railroad tracks. The Amtrak came, however, and Clark luckily was able to jump under the bridge just in the nick of time. Clark eventually made it down to Central, but he was too late to participate in Paul's project, so he just sat on the M by himself. After sitting on the M, Clark saw a friend's car and thought it would be mavericky if he could break in undetected and move all her stuff around inside the car. He was unsuccessful, however. Feeling defeated, Clark was rather angry. He also wanted to take pictures of the art museum, but was denied by a security guard who told him that was completely out of the question. Angered by his failures, Clark took out his rage on the next person he saw, yelling at a Girl Scout for making change incorrectly after buying a box of cookies. She was quite upset. Realizing he made a mistake, he went to reflect at his favorite statue. After hanging out for a while and convincing himself that he wasn't actually enough of a jerk to yell at a Girl Scout and mean it, Clark headed back to North Campus. On the way, he ran into Maverick's classmate Chase, and they had a conversation in a flower garden. Upon returning to North, Clark found a key to BAM on the ground. After his previous organ success, he figured it was worth a shot. BAM! It worked! Not only was Clark able to play more cheesy pop music, he was actually able to go inside the organ. And thus ends the mavericky adventures of Clark Mague.